The Minister of Electricity, a few ministerial reshuffles here and there, but some remaining in their portfolios while others have been moved. This is what kept many South Africans up last night, waiting to hear President Cyril Ramaphosa announce the composition of his new cabinet. So let's get some analysis now on his moves with political analyst Professor Sandile Swana joins me this morning. And Prof, thank you so much for your time. Good morning to you. I want to start with this key, appointment, Paul Mashatile as South Africa's new deputy president. Was this South Africa's worst kept secret, or was there a possibility that perhaps he might not have made the cut as the deputy president of the country?
Paul Mashatile, in terms of what they have now called a tradition in the ANC, is that if you win the deputy presidency in the ANC or the presidency, those two positions in particular, they then automatically make you to fit the same position in the state. To say they want to eliminate the two centers of power. So it was automatic in terms of what they now call an ANC tradition, that if you become deputy president in the ANC, you then become deputy president in the state for the time being, as the ANC is still in power.
And Prof, what do you expect from him? What are expectations from his administration as DP? Because David Mabuza, vehemently being described as an absent deputy president, where do you see Paul filling in the gap?
The unfortunate thing that has happened last year and this year, last year being the ANC conference and now the cabinet reshuffle, is that a lot of the people who are taking prominent positions in the ANC are from Gauteng province. Paul and Cyril Ramaphosa, both from Gauteng province. A province that has led the electoral failures of the ANC, that has led the underperformance of the South African economy and depressed the SADC region as an economic unit. So we are drawing the top leadership right now, including Paul Mashatile, who's a prominent, probably the most senior leader in Gauteng, from a province that is failing. So for us to expect that Paul Mashatile and his colleagues from Gauteng are going to lift South Africa and perform better than the non-performing Didi Mabuza is actually unreasonable at this point in time.
Yeah, and I suppose we'll have to see, because I think it's only a year left, more or less, before the next elections, what exactly that one-year term just before the general elections will look like. I want to also move to other reshuffles due to time, because there have been so many. Another key one, the Minister of Electricity, and we know, of course, Sputla from his tenure as the mayor of Tshwane. He's been leading up and heading infrastructure development out in the presidency. Is he the man for the job? Did you anticipate that his name would be announced as Minister of Electricity?
Because what happened is that his name was leaked out. However, we also know that when he was in charge of Tshwane, there was a lot of failures. In fact, it was a fiasco to the point where Tshwane the ANC lost Tshwane to the continuing fiasco today. The ANC was divided all over the show. So we anticipated it, and there was a call that an engineer be appointed to that position. But we did not anticipate truly that an unrelated engineer. It's like if you have a heart problem and you go to a dentist. He's a civil engineer. We need an engineer who knows power systems, heavy current, and who's operated utilities before. Somebody who knows exactly what needs to be done here. So it's a little bit of a disappointment, and we don't anticipate too much of a positive result out of it.
Yeah, well, the president also announced in the Prof that he'll be responsible or tasked to, severely reduce load shedding. And that's a big responsibility, as well as effectively oversee the energy response. But it seems he's not doing this alone. Gwede Mantashe, Pravin Gordhan not touched, still remaining in their positions, working alongside Cyril Ramaphosa. Is this the dream team, the trio, that will lead South Africa out of this energy crisis?
Actually, confusion has now been escalated because there's a team of about 6 cabinet ministers who constitute NECOM, which is the National Electricity Energy Crisis Committee, which is supposed to solve the electricity crisis in South Africa, and has been producing monthly reports showing that they are succeeding in doing that task. Now there's this specialist. Yeah, will happen now, and how are they going to work together, and where does Ramaphosa fit into this whole thing? It's additional confusion, and many people have warned that this should not be done, and it is done now.
What do you anticipate to come out of, this, not only the appointment of the Minister of Electricity, but also, as you mentioned, the committee designated to bringing us, those results and oversight, the Minister of Public Enterprise and Mineral Energy? Where do you oversee, or rather see, the gaps in terms of this relationship working out and getting this energy crisis or not?
Yeah, so the first thing is that when the committee meets, they issue their instructions to Sandile Swana, who's the Director General in the presidency, who then mobilizes all the professionals in the public sector to do their parts in terms of resolving the energy crisis. So now we don't know which DG actually is going to be in charge, unless we're going to be able to say, it's not the DG in Mandase's office, it's not the DG in Pravin's office, it's not the DG in the presidency. There's a new DG that he will have his own DG. You have the board of ESCOM, which every company, by the way, Pick and Pay doesn't have a minister, Sasol doesn't have a minister, Anglo American doesn't have a minister. They operate. So a board can actually operate the company together with their executives and so on and so forth. So now there are so many structures and layers of confusion. And this is added to a state of disaster. And unfortunately, state of disasters under the ANC have been programs of looting. And there is now an indication from some quarters, commentators saying now, this is the man who's going to be directing the tenders to ANC cronies. There's really nothing else that needs to be done technically by him, other than to make sure that the tenders and everything else goes to the right people that they want to have those tenders.
Well, Prof, I have to say, on that very low note, we have to leave our conversation there, because I think the whole country was hoping that the man or woman appointed for this position would be one who would inspire confidence. And speaking to you right now, actually giving us perspective as to what really will resolve this energy crisis. Will it be him? Will it not? We'll beg the question. Thank you so much, Professor Sandile Swana, for joining me right here on the South African Morning.